Welcome to the video. We're going to talk about Safa reckless engagement. Who knows? I would say listen to this video and then tell me if you think riding like Safa and co is a good idea. How to descend like those guys. Pretty much you have to not care about your health. Let's get into the video. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the video. This is the top of Mount Lofty, South Australia. Beautiful summer's day here. We're filming on the GoPro Hero 7. What a great place for cycling. Adelaide, South Australia. This is the highest point in South Australian metro areas. Mount Lofty, it's about 711 metres. It's about 2,000 feet from the US. So it's about 711 metres up elevation. Fantastic descent. Very fast descent if you want it to be. Very dangerous descent. Very safe descent. Depends what your goals are. Big goal for me. I always think of family, friends, lovers. I've got a picture here, Natasha. Always ride to return. I love going fast down hills. I won't deny it. I love speed. Speed doesn't love me, but I love speed. And it's in my blood. It's in my family. My brothers race motorbikes. My dad was a bike nut. It's just how it is. It's how we grew up. I love going fast down hills, but I also ride to return. I know my limits. I know the limits of other drivers. I know the limits of gum nuts. I know the limits of a front wheel blowout at 80 km an hour. I know what it feels like. I've had it done before. So I ride to return, and got a guy here passing around. I'm already trying to race people. I'm not, but that's just can't help myself. You speak bike messenger, taking big risks, racing bikes, etc. I don't take many risks these days. I ride to return. So how to become a better descender? How to go downhill fast? First of all, if you want to go downhill fast, you have to have a willingness to go to hospital. Now, this video here, it looks faster than it really is. It definitely looks faster than it really is. Or maybe to you it doesn't look faster than it is. But it's a road I know very well. But you can see there's a lot of shadows in this road. You can't spot a gum nut. You can't spot a little washer that's fell off the back of a truck. You can't spot a crack in the road that wasn't there last time you did it. You can't spot everything. Even though I know this road really well, I've been riding this road downhill since 1997. It was my first descent of Mount Lofty, Green Hill Road. So I've been doing it for 24 years. Yeah, I know it pretty well. But again, there's always things that pop up in here. There's kangaroos, the koalas, the echidnas, etc. Cars cutting across, motorbikes cutting across, other cyclists cutting across, pedestrians, under-carb keto diet, walking up Mount Lofty, cutting across, not paying attention. So you've got to pay attention for them. So how to go fast downhill, you just have to understand the risks involved. You have to be okay with going to hospital. You have to be okay with maybe ending up in a wheelchair, maybe ending up with permanent spinal injuries for life, permanent pain in your shoulders, concussions, etc., traumatic brain injuries, acquired brain injuries. You have to be willing to do that. Now, if you want to do that, I'll give you some tips. It's outside to inside. So you can see here on the road here, I'm always trying to pick the safest line. I do have a mirror on my bike, just because I love knowing what's behind me, racing or otherwise. I find it very, very handy, very, very safe. I don't think looking behind, tilting your head around is much a really good idea. I think mirrors are there for a reason. So it's just great having a mirror behind me. I can see, I can take the road, take the best line. I don't have to worry about some Tesla coming up behind me I didn't hear, or other riders or e-bikes or e-motorbikes, whatever. I know what's behind me most of the time. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool having a little mirror. The mirror I use on this bike is a Cat Eye BM45. So that way I can take the lane safely, comfortably, optimally, performance-driven mindset, and the mirror is just handy for that. Some people don't like a mirror, but I like riding to return. I like performance. I like knowing what's behind me. It just feels good. It feels good having eyes in the back of your head. It just feels good there. So that's my cadence riders going on the hill here. So this is the dealio. This is Mount Lofty, Green Hill Road, and there's some holes in this road, right? So you also got to know your terrain. You got to know your terrain. Like, is there holes and cracks and gum nuts and things in your road? Is there deer? We got deer up here. This is Australia. We got deer. I've seen deer up here across the road. You know what I mean? Reindeer. I was like, what? Literally seen a reindeer copping across the road. So that's just how it is, man. It got the cadence spinners in this climb. So basically, you want to be picking the inside to outside. So even here on the inside, and that way you can just sort of cut the corners, cut the apex, etc. But again, if you don't know what's behind you, it's a bit hard to cut the apex, isn't it? So what if you cut into a car who's trying to overtake you? You swerve over the road. If you know what's behind you, you can take the road, take the lane. And when you're going fast enough, it's fine to do so. So just things like that. I always pick for the smooth line. Looking out for oil as well. Oil on roads, someone dumps a sump. You get a sump dump on a corner. You know, sump dump, then you're in the Trump cump, and you're in hospital eating hospital food. Eating Frankfurters, been sitting there for 6 months. Like, sump dump, you know, bit of sump oil on the road, sliding out. Seen that happen. It's rare. It's rare. But it happens, doesn't it? It does happen. Front wheel blowout, 80k an hour. Can you hold it up? I descend now, you know, exception maybe some races. I remember doing a race in Thailand a couple of years ago. Had an ambulance behind me. It was pretty cool. And I went full tilt down the hill. But I knew my limits, you know. And I knew we had police closures in front of us. It was a closed road, so it felt pretty safe. But even then, I was still riding to return. Is your carbon fork steerer about to shear off? Do you have the ring of death on your carbon steerer? No one talks about the ring of death, do they? GCN don't talk about it. Velo News don't talk about it. Cycling Tips don't talk about it. Everyone knows about the ring of death. Now, I don't say this to be nasty or whatever. The ring of death is a real deal for carbon steerers. Even alloy steerers can sometimes have a crack in there. You should drop your fork out every few months. Give it a wipe down. Re-grease your bearings and your headset. Learn how to do it. It's really easy. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Literally. If you can make a phone call with a smartphone, you can drop your fork out and re-grease your headset. Assuming you don't have one of these modern day fangled aero disc brakes where you've got to re-bleed the front brake just to access the headset bearings. I'm assuming you've got a more sensibly designed bike. Hopefully you do. If not, good thing you got your bike mechanic as a mate. But seriously, drop your fork out every few months. Check it for the ring of death. Check it for any cracks. Why would you go downhill? You know what I mean? Imagine that fork steerer failure at 60k an hour or 50k an hour, whatever, into the front of the SUV. Front wheel blowout, cracking your rim, bang. Disc rotors, you got contaminated rotor. You go to hit the front brake, doesn't work properly. Or you're cooking down the hill so fast, you go to grab the front brake, and it overgrabs, and you wash out, and you go under. So that's just the mindset I have is, you know, going easy. This looks way faster than it really is. I'm probably doing maybe 30k an hour down here, not fast at all. Just cruising along. Maybe it's 40. Who knows? I'm going fast enough that if I have a front wheel blowout, I'm going to pull it up. No worries. Now, I'll see people down here, Green Hill, just hooking it. And I'm just like, man, for me, that's self-harm. All right? To know what's possible to go down, go wrong. Are you on a skinny wheel? We're on a skinny wheel bike, you know, 25 mil or 28 mil tire, one gum nut away from a massive crash by we're going too fast on the limit. For me, I like coming home to Natasha. I love my job, all right? If I break my wrist, for some people out there, they break your wrist, it means you don't have to work at JB Hi-Fi that week, the job you hate. It means you don't have to change nappies for a week, which you hate. It means you can stay away from your spouse, which you don't like. It means you can have a time off your job, which you don't like, if you have a crash. It means you have to race for a while if you crash. For some people, that's a good. So they descend almost as if, like, if I crash, this is a good thing, because then I have time out of my daily life, which I don't really like, and cycling's an outlet for that. And taking risks downhill subconsciously is a way for me to have more time off this thing I don't like. So that's just me. I love my job. I love coming home to Natasha. I love the people in my life, you know, and I like coming home in one piece. I like my hands functioning. I come home to return. I ride to return. If you pass me in a downhill, no worries, go for it. I might say take it easy, but if you pass me uphill, the race is on. I don't race downhill no more. It's just not worth it. I've seen too many crashes. I've seen people die. I've seen too many dead people. One's enough. I've seen 3 on the road. Massive brain injuries. It ain't fun. So I've seen broken legs. I've had friends with spinal injuries for life. I've seen some pretty horrific crashes in my time, and it's given me the wake-up call I need that to chill is good. There's a section of this road coming up. Hopefully we can spot it. There's a chunk in the road. Now, this is a really popular spot for the young guys who want to have a crash to super tuck. This is a super tuck straight, and there's this big hole in the middle of the road. I'm not sure if we can spot it in time. Imagine if you're super tucking now. This is probably how fast you'd be going. It was back there. There was a big hole in the road. Did you catch it? I didn't catch it either, but there was a big hole in the back of the road there. And if you super tuck that, bang, front wheel blowout, most likely. And hopefully you don't go over the barriers too much. And hopefully you don't get your scrotum sliced by that barrier, those red reflectors there. This is a good super tuck place for a crash. Right? I actually had a friend crash a few weeks ago down here. Remember that? I found Dan's Oakleys. he had staples in the back of his head. I found his Oakleys a few weeks later, and he got them back. So, and Dan's a super experienced rider. He wasn't even doing a super tuck. He was a super experienced rider. Just got a rear wheel blowout, 70k an hour, ba-bang. Luckily, he walked away from it. He was in an ambulance. He went to the hospital. He was out of it. He had concussion. But again, he wasn't even taking risks. It's just really unlucky. So, and he's an experienced rider. He's one of the most experienced riders I know. If someone said, write down the top 5 most experienced riders for downhill or conditioning, I'd put him up the list. And he had a crash. A simple crash, Simple crash, 70k an hour rear wheel blowout. So, it's crazy. There was a big hole in this road. I can't remember exactly where it was. Could even be. There's a few holes in the middle of the road here, which you can't really see because of the shadow. You just boom. You hit that in a super tuck. You're going to crack your top tube. You're definitely going to crack your top tube. For what? For trying to get an extra 30 seconds down Green Hill Road. Maybe even not. So, yeah, that's the deal here. I'm not trying to be a smart rump. I'm just trying to give people a heads up, man. Like, I've seen horrific crashes on Green Hill Road. I remember a guy in 2002 coming down here and, had a massive crash. Never saw him ever again. Riding a bike, I should say. He quit. His wife said cycling's too dangerous. He hit one of these stubby poles here, more down the bottom. So it's just front wheel blowout. It just happens, man. It happens. Another guy come down here right off his bike back in 2006, and there was another guy. James was doing a super tuck down here. Very experienced rider. James is very, very good descender. Very, very good. But again, taking the risks. Did a super tuck, and his pants got caught on his seat. And we can laugh about it because he was okay, but his bike wasn't. It got snapped. The ISP got snapped off. But that's, we can laugh about it, thankfully. But what if James got really severely injured just for a super tuck? Just for a super tuck in Green Hill, I love going fast. It's exhilarating, but I always ride within my limits. In a race, maybe a little bit different. But again, often you're in a closed road, it's a bit different. So, I encourage people to take care out there. Monitor your bike condition. Make sure you've got no cuts in your sidewalls, things like that. And just ask yourself, if I get a front wheel blowout now, could I hold it up? No worries. And you're like, I've never had a front wheel blowout. And I'm like, what you should do is practice. Get a cheap rim with a cheap tyre and ride it with no air in it. And see how you go with that. Understand how a bike feels with no air in the tyre. On the rear and on the front. Understand how it turns. Things like that. Otherwise, you're going to be, you're going to be in for some bad news when it does happen to you one day. See, this is the crew. We're cruising down here. So you can tell, looks like about a 60k an hour. We'll keep up the cars here. And people on their phones, they're on keto diets, they're on Xanax, they're on Xannies. And they're not paying attention, man. They're so poor they can't even pay attention. So don't be so trusting. Don't be so trusting. Always ride to return. Be visible. Run a neon helmet, some neon socks, or a neon jersey, or a neon bike. All right? If your head's as big as mine, they'll see you easy. So that's just how I roll. And I love being fit. I love riding to return. And and car doors. Watch out for car doors in the bike lane. I stay on the right hand side of the bike lane again. Got my mirror, know what's behind me. That's all good. I don't ride of anxiety. I ride of purpose and performance in mind. And I understand car doors swing open. Someone doesn't like you, they'll swing a car door open on you. Nothing you can do about it. Sorry, mate. I didn't see you. Oh, wow. Your teeth are on the ground. Jeez. That's not good, is it? What are you going to do then? It's like, just understand car doors do fling out. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. That was an accident, I'm sorry. Who cares how much money you make if you got pain for life? So, just remember that. Remember that here. But this is Glenburn Road. Glenburn Road. Beautiful area. Very, very nice. Very, very nice area. And we're so blessed here in Adelaide, Australia. Bike lanes a lot of the places. But again, poorly designed bike lanes. You're in that door zone. And so many people every year get car doored. They just think, well, I was riding in the bike lane and the person opened the car door in my face. They do that. on purpose sometimes, accident most of the time. Don't think just because you're in a bike lane, you don't have to pay attention, all right? You always have to pay attention. You're on the road, mate. You're on the road. Whether you're walking on the road, on a bike on the road, in a car, motorbike, a trolley. If you're on the road, you got to be paying attention. You got to ride to return. All right, so that's just the deal here. We're just cruising along and just come out from the morning routine. Morning routine, you like to wake up, jump on the bike, just spin the legs out, cough up a bit of gunk, cough up a bit of pussy fur, and have a bit of a spin, talk a bit of crap, talk a bit of banter, have a bit of a race. Love to race every day if I get the chance. If someone's out there willing, up the hill to Norton Summit. If there's no out there, just race against yourself, against the power meter, test yourself. And it's fantastic. Just a great way to live. Adelaide, Australia. Just a good routine. Wake up, jump on the bike. You go east, west, north, south. I normally go east. Up Norton Summit. Up one of the climbs. Red lights. Don't really like a red light. This is what I do a red light. Thanks for coming. I got to go. I got places to be. I ain't got time for red lights. Red lights don't suit my personality. If it's safe to go, we'll go through. And we often use a footpath, which is a perfectly legal manoeuvre here in South Australia, the cycle city of Australia. That's the deal there, gang. You might not like me, but your family, those who care about you, will like this message. Ride to return. All right. If you don't care, if you have an accident, change your lifestyle. All right. Change up your job, change up your direction, change up your partner, change up your living conditions. You're living with mum and dad, don't like them, move out. Don't harm yourself on the bike. Don't take risks you don't need to. Understand life's short, life's precious. Things can happen real quick. You're here 1 minute, you're gone the next. All right, or your life's permanently changed. Understand that you are a pretty soft little body. You got a soft little skull. It ain't that strong. It's not designed for impacts on the tarmac or the concrete. I sounded like my mum 20 years ago telling me, but it's true. Once you see a dead person on the road that you used to know, or you see someone you really know well, broken legs, then you go, wow, this is these risks ain't really worth it. All right, just take it easy out there, gang. It's not worth it, man. It ain't worth it. All right, it's like street fights. It ain't worth it, man. All right, do your best to avoid a fight. Temper your anger, bite your tongue. Simple as that. The person who has the most restraint, they win in life better. If you always get loose, life will get loose on you. Alright, simple as that. Alright, home and done. See you on the road. Ride to return.